Let's start with something that stopped physicists in their tracks over a century ago. When scientists began looking at atoms under increasingly powerful instruments, they expected to find tiny little billiard balls, hard particles sitting next to each other, forming the matter we experience. Instead, they found something far stranger. An atom is almost entirely empty space. The nucleus at the center is unimaginably small compared to the atom itself, and the electrons surrounding it aren't even sitting still. They exist as clouds of probability, buzzing regions where a particle might be, rather than fixed points in space. Now zoom out from that atomic level and think about what this means for everything around you. The table, the walls, your own hands, they are all built from atoms, which means they are all, at their most fundamental level, vast territories of emptiness with tiny specks of matter vibrating at incredible speeds. The solidity you feel, the hardness of a countertop when you knock on it, that isn't two solid things colliding. It's the electromagnetic forces between atoms pushing back against each other. You're never actually touching anything in the way you think you are. This is where energy enters the picture, and this is where things get genuinely mind-bending. Albert Einstein gave us one of the most famous equations in human history. E equals MC². Most people have seen it. Fewer actually understand what it's telling us. What Einstein was saying is that energy and mass are interchangeable. Matter isn't a separate thing from energy. Matter is energy in a different form. A rock sitting on a hillside is storing an unimaginable amount of energy locked inside its mass. When physicists eventually learned to release some of that stored energy in nuclear reactions, the results were staggering because even a tiny amount of mass converts into a truly enormous quantity of energy. So the universe isn't made of things with energy flowing through them. The universe is energy, expressing itself in different forms, at different frequencies, across different scales. Quantum field theory, which is our best current model for understanding fundamental physics, describes the universe as a collection of overlapping fields. These fields exist everywhere, filling all of space. What we call particles, what we call matter, are actually excitations in these fields. Think of it like a calm pond. The water is the field. A ripple moving across the surface is what we call a particle. The particle isn't a separate thing from the field. It's just the field doing something, moving, vibrating, expressing energy. Every electron, every proton, every photon of light is a disturbance in a quantum field that permeates everything. This means there is no truly empty space anywhere in the universe. Even the vacuum of outer space is filled with these quantum fields, and they are constantly fluctuating, constantly producing what physicists call virtual particles, pairs of particles that pop into existence and annihilate each other almost instantly. Space itself is alive with energy. And here is where the story gets even more fascinating. Light, which we experience as something that travels from one place to another, is itself an electromagnetic wave. It's a self-propagating ripple of oscillating electric and magnetic fields. When sunlight hits your skin and you feel warmth, you're feeling energy transferring from one form to another. The sun is converting mass into radiant energy through nuclear fusion. That energy travels across 93 million miles of space as electromagnetic radiation, and when it reaches you, it transfers into heat. Energy transforming, flowing, cycling. This same principle scales across the entire cosmos. Stars are engines of energy transformation, pulling in matter and converting it into light and heat. Black holes warp space and time with their energy density. Galaxies rotate around centers of immense gravitational energy. The universe began with an almost incomprehensible release of energy in the Big Bang, and everything we see, every galaxy, every star, every planet, every living creature, is a consequence of that initial energy spreading, cooling, and organizing itself into increasingly complex patterns. And that word, complex patterns, brings us to something extraordinary about living things. Your body is a system of energy exchange. Every cell in your body is performing chemical reactions constantly, breaking down molecules to release energy, using that energy to build proteins, pump ions across membranes, send electrical signals through nerves. Your brain is running on about 20 watts of power, roughly the same as a dim light bulb, yet it generates your entire conscious experience of reality. Life itself can be understood as energy, organizing itself into self-sustaining, self-replicating patterns. Plants capture the energy of sunlight through photosynthesis and lock it into chemical bonds and sugars. When you eat those plants, or eat animals that ate those plants, you're consuming stored solar energy. The energy that powers your muscles when you walk, the energy that heats your body, the energy that allows you to read and think and feel, it's all ultimately solar energy, which is ultimately the energy locked inside the hydrogen atoms that were forged in the first moments after the Big Bang. You are, quite literally, stardust that has found a way to process ancient cosmic energy. Now, this understanding has real implications for how we think about the world. When you look at nature and see cycles, water evaporating and returning as rain, nutrients cycling through ecosystems, seasons turning, you're watching energy flow through systems. Nothing is truly lost. Energy doesn't disappear. It transforms. This is what the first law of thermodynamics tells us. Energy is conserved. The total amount of energy in a closed system stays constant. It changes form, but it doesn't vanish. This is one of the most profound truths physics has uncovered. There is an accounting to the universe. Energy that goes into a system must come out somewhere. Nothing is wasted in the grand cosmic ledger, only transformed. The second law of thermodynamics adds another layer. While energy is conserved, it tends to spread out and become less organized over time. This spreading out is called entropy. Stars eventually burn out. Structures eventually decay. Yet against this tide, pockets of complexity can emerge and persist, sustained by flows of energy. Life on Earth is one of the most spectacular examples of local complexity arising within a universe trending toward disorder. What makes this all so remarkable is that science arrived at these conclusions not through mysticism or philosophy, but through rigorous experimentation and mathematics. Scientists pointed instruments at the world, measured what they found, built theories, tested those theories, and discovered that beneath the everyday appearance of solid objects and empty space, reality is a vast, interconnected dance of energy. So when you walk outside and feel the sun on your face, you're not just getting warm. You're participating in a chain of energy transformation stretching back billions of years. When you look at a stone wall, you're looking at energy locked into form. When you watch a flame, you're watching stored chemical energy releasing itself as light and heat. The ancient intuition that everything is connected, that there's some fundamental unity underlying the apparent diversity of things, turns out to have remarkable grounding in modern physics. Not because of mystical forces, but because at the deepest level we can probe, everything is made of the same stuff, fields and energy and vibration. The universe isn't a collection of separate objects bumping into each other. It's one interconnected system of energy in constant transformation. And you're not just watching that from the outside. You are part of it. You always have been. The energy that makes up every atom in your body has existed since the dawn of time, cycling through stars and supernovae, and molecular clouds and planets and life, and it will continue cycling long after you and I are gone. That's not just beautiful. That's physics. Subscribe to Wonder Jenny and the Robot for more videos where human wisdom meets AI intelligence, and we break down the hidden rules behind behavior, mindset, and reality.